teach you how to make this little notebook today that is kind of magical. Did you ever think that anything would be cooler than your iPod? Well, this is. Watch what it's going to look like when we're done with it. Watch. If you squeeze it into the middle, it'll open in the middle. Isn't that cool? So that's what we're making today. Okay. Now, I didn't line this up exactly right. So, I'm going to give you a choice on this next step, but I do need you to be quiet. I didn't quite copy this straight. Well, it didn't quite copy on the cardstock exactly where it's supposed to be. So, if you want, you can actually line this up right along the edge and then crease it down, but it's not quite lined up right. So what I want to show you that's not lined up right is you might want to be more careful about where you crease it so that the crease goes between the two sets of stuff that's going on there. So see how if I actually had lined it up on the edge, I would have folded through the edge of those triangles, which it would still work okay. But if you'd like everything to line up a little nicer, then make your crease in between the two sides. I don't have a line there for you or anything. Does everyone understand? You do want it to be straight up and down though, so if you're having a hard time with that, just line up the edges and make it straight up and down. You might want to use a pen or a protractor or edge of something to crease it. Okay? Now, because of that little mistake, this next part is not going to be quite as easy as it should be if you didn't line it up down. If you didn't line it up with the edges here, then this part's also going to be a little tricky. You're just going to want to fold it. Normally I would say fold it clear to there, but since it wasn't quite lined up right, I would say fold it so that, you see how I've got like this much right here between the two edges? If you did that, then leave that same amount of edge right here.
Well, what if you didn't do this?
Then just go right to the edge. Just take it up to the edge, yeah. And then the other one, I would just fold to the edge. It'll be fine.
Wait, which side did you do both sides?
You know, it's really just easiest if you just fold edges together and just not worry about lining it up. It won't look quite as well. It's just my issue with having how I copied it. Okay, so your fold should look something like that. Does anyone have any questions about if they've done it right or not? Fold it up as well. I just folded mine right to the middle, to the edge. I just lined up the edges. It should work fine. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is kind of unfold it except for that fold that's in the middle. So it's just folded in half now and the accordion folds are flattened out. And now I'm going to take scissors and cut on these little lines up a little bit past those folds. Through just 2 layers.
Just two?
If you do all 4, it'll mess it up. So, just 2. Do you want some tape?
Later, I'll get some.
Okay, so it's just cut through 2 layers like this. Right?
Where's the tape at? What?
That was a horrible toss. That's all I can say.
Horrible catcher. Horrible catcher. Yeah, you do. I don't go like 4 foot long arms.
It was a worse throw than it was a miss catching it. Okay, next you take the other little paper you were given and you cut it down the middle. And really, in order for this to work right, you might actually want to trim some of the edges off of the yellow strips. You can wait and trim them later if it doesn't seem like they're going to fit quite right, but I get the feeling that mine's going to be a little too wide. Maybe it won't be. Oh, you're fine. Okay, now take the strip that has the big letters on it, the S's and the A's and the L's and the H's and stuff. And we're going to do basket weaving. So you go over the top of the triangles, under the SAS, please be quiet. Over the triangles, under the AAS. And then the other strip goes the opposite way. And like I said, if the strips don't seem to be fitting, like if they're a little too tight, then just go ahead and trim a little bit off the edges to make them fit. And it should look like this.